start seeing eye to eye, but it's been going on.
Leaving Cherry Hill, New Jersey in 2023 July. I knew flying and staying in New Jersey with a stranger that was a man living alone was a risk. It definitely brought a lot of fear. I didn't travel to the US before that. The biggest reason was because I was just scared of Pew Pew's violent reputation. Thought if I could travel, I'm not gonna go next door where it seems scary. I'm gonna just go abroad where it seems safe. There was a previous experience when I was living in my car where I took a risk at sleeping in a stranger's home who was also a male living by himself. This scenario was actually very scary for me considering how quickly I felt him getting attached. He had almost no boundaries towards actually touching me while I was sleeping, like in my car days, so I knew to be hesitant towards men. From a risk of living with someone and another night on the street, I just went for it. I felt like at the time it was really hard to be clear with a vocal boundary. I felt like if I placed a vocal boundary, especially if it seemed like out of nowhere, these guys would get offended. And in that process, I was just scared for my safety. I was like, okay, if we're not gonna talk about it, if no one's gonna, be weird about it, maybe it's just not a conversation we need to even have. With strangers that are male and you're a female, that is definitely a conversation you need to have. After a few weeks of staying in Cherry Hill, it was very obvious that he wanted a companion from me, and that was why he brought me there. Also had a very toxic relationship with another female. As soon as she found out I was living there, she came over almost all the time. They had a relationship before, but she has like a baby daddy, a family. She didn't want him part of her life. They had been on and off together for a couple years. Then when I got there, all of a sudden she wanted him again. And that's usually how it goes, right? When she started inserting herself back into his life, even though he kept telling me like they're done, blah blah. Mind you, I'm still not interested in this guy. I just wanted to know the preface of, okay, who is this random girl still coming inside your house talking to me? And I had no problem getting to know her if she was like part of his life. I didn't want to intrude in his life, and I didn't want to make him seem like he had to only have me around and only talk to me. No, I was very much like, please just have a space for me where I can continue being myself. You be yourself still. If we are compatible, then we'll talk. The first little bit when I got there, I had dinners with him. I was treating him like normal, but when it was very obvious that he would have sexual jokes, just like see how I would react here and there to sexual comments, it was very obvious. Closer to the end, where he had been doing renovations in the backyard often. I asked him, I was like, oh, are you gonna make that your man cave? He's like, oh, I'm actually really hoping I could get like some college student or whatever, and she could stay there, and she doesn't have to pay rent if she could give me some. When he said that, that's when I took it as confirmation. Oh, this is why I was here. He literally wanted some. I'm just gonna be straight up, like, I was not attracted to this man. Mentally, physically, there was no attraction there. It was even hard to spend time with him because I felt like I couldn't even eat my food around him. He made fun of Cambodian food because his ex-girlfriend thingy person was also Cambodian. So he had two Cambodian girls around him and he's just making fun of our culture and our food. She was trying to like people please laugh it off, like, don't say that, that's the me. I was like, that's not funny. I straight up looked at both of them. I was like, that's not funny to me. Saying how excited I am to eat Cambodian food because it's part of my childhood and you're making fun of me. He also said, I feel bad, this is part of your food. Why would I want to spend time around someone like that? So when I made it very obvious that offended me by saying that's very offensive, we just like kept distance after that. Then what made it really awkward was him and his girl were starting to get sexual. They weren't sexual even a year leading to me moving in. They became sexual when I moved in and when I was there, perking her jealousy. He enjoyed the fact that her jealousy was bringing them closer together. He loved it. He fed off her jealousy and that's how they got together. Then they started having sex with the door open, loud as fuck. It's just so disrespectful. Even when her son was there, Oh, they would have sex like that. It was just so inappropriate and it was so disgusting, and it reminded me of my childhood. There's just so many people in my childhood growing up that didn't give a fuck about having sex around me as a child. It triggers me when I see parents not giving a fuck about their kid while they're having sex. It's so triggering. I asked them because I woke up from a nap hearing them. Ah, fucking damn. This is like probably like the sixth time. I texted him. I was like, can you please close the door? Can you please be a little bit more mindful? Like, I'm in the house. Her son is in the house. Can you just be mindful? And you know what he said? You should be more grateful. It's like going off at me, basically saying he's uncomfortable having me there. I'm gonna buy you a ticket back to Toronto. I said, book me that this weekend. It was like on a Wednesday we had this conversation. I was like, book me it for this weekend. I completely go ice cold. And this is a time when I know this is toxic, but I am a huge stonewaller when I reach a certain level of disrespect. I just don't give a fuck. I will act like that person doesn't even fucking exist, even if they're in the same house. I will own up to that. Like, that's not healthy. I just reach a point where I'm just so fed up with people being so fucking rude and disrespectful constantly when I'm not like that to them. At one point, I'm like, okay, you're not a person to me. You're fucking not even a person to me. That's how I treated him and her. Like, they were trying to be like, you know, they felt a little bit bad that, you know, they're kicking me out and stuff, knowing that I had no one to go back to in Canada. When I asked him to book me that flight, it was with pure anger and adrenaline. Just like, book me it, and I didn't even know where I was going to stay in Canada. But I was like, you know, at this point, I believe something's going to work out for me. I trust it. I know this place is not for me, for sure. Please, please, Divine, I'm begging. When I go back to Canada, this little thing, I have just this for. When the weekend hit, he was still at the house, but I took an Uber, went to the airport early in the day, stayed there, chilled there, ate there till my flight. So annoying that I always felt like people felt bad after I was leaving. No. Why do people not think about their actions when it concerns literally someone's like survival? I know it's not their responsibility for my life. Almost like these people would just offer their house and then be like, oh my god, I have to be mindful about another person. Oh yeah, I can't be a fucking dick all the time. Oh, but this person is calling me out for being a fucking dick. I don't like them in my house anymore. Get out. People who kick me out ruthlessly are because they wanted to stay a fucking toxic person when I just wanted some kindness. And when I called them out for that, they're like, let me be an asshole in my own house. To that, yes, please stay an asshole in your own house while I fucking leave it. Fuck that shit. People wanted me to be okay with them being a complete asshole as a human just because they said yes to me staying there for help. Fuck. That's how I left New Jersey. I'm grateful that this whole process of being in New Jersey showed me that I can trust the unknown. When I saw and had proof that he didn't hurt me and didn't actually try to make moves to do stuff, at least that was confirmed for me. It showed me that even though the intentions were off, it did provide safety. I did stay in New Jersey for a month and a half. A month and a half on the street would have fucked me up. For that reason, I'm super grateful I had a place for a month and a half. Built my courage up in that time. I just want to make a point real quickly that the person I stayed with in New Jersey was the most financially successful person I've ever met in person and stayed with. They blew money like they didn't give a fuck. It's never been around that energy where someone was just like, oh, that's $1,000? Okay, let me buy. Buy. No thoughts to the buying. I haven't been around that energy and actually lived with that. I'm really grateful that being around that energy showed me abundant energy. Being in his house showed me that, oh, fuck, I can have it all. I can build up to a lot of things. Maybe I don't agree with his overconsumption, which was fucking heavy, but I'm grateful that it reminded me that there's people who live like that, who literally are like, oh, let me buy this. No worries about the price. I want it. I get it to be around that. But in that same sentence, he was a greedy motherfucker. Got it into his head, especially with his ex, that I had to work to receive his kindness. When I first got to his house, he had no problem bringing me to Target and just saying, get whatever you want, whatever you need, Don't worry about the price. Fill up the cart if you need to. Get what you need. He said that the first day I got there. Hygiene stuff. I got all the things that I could think of that I needed to bring me comfort that day at Target. His ex is just like coming over and she's like, she's not doing anything. She's not helping you clean. She's not doing your laundry. She's not helping you outside. Blah, blah. She does not do anything. She doesn't talk to you. Why are you helping her? And it got to his head very easily. She comes over to his house, does laundry and stuff for him. She's like, nobody asked me to do it, but of course I'll do it for you. I'm like that. I even called her out because she's like, 2 people in this house, who does the sweeping? I was like, you're the only one who cares about it, so you sweep. For me, when I saw how he treats the house, I for sure wasn't gonna be the fucking cleaner. And I made that boundary right at the start. I was like, is there an expectation of me being here? He said no. Absolutely none. And I clean up after myself too. If there is a very dusty area that I frequent, I would sweep it. This girl was just like, she's not cleaning your whole house and you're letting her stay in here for free, even though you don't even live here half the week. You're letting her stay here. And it got to him. Asked me to go out to eat with him anymore because I wasn't giving him anything. He stopped being giving to me. So unfortunate to watch. And I'm not saying I'm entitled to his money. Poor people are entitled to rich people's money. No. But it was just the oddest thing to see him spend so much on nothing he ever looks at again. Nothing he even remembers buying. Helping me with a meal was like, fuck no, you're not fucking doing anything for me. I'm not getting you food. You're hungry? Fuck that. Let me buy 10 boxes of Amazon shit that I'm not gonna open for a month. And when I do open it, oh my god, I ordered this? Oh my god, what? To me, that is so fucking greedy. You reach the point where you're not even fucking human anymore. You are seeing someone hungry. And you are buying shit you don't even fucking need or remember. I would rather not live with someone like that and see what happens for me than stay with a greedy ass motherfucker. An over-consuming greedy ass motherfucker who's clearly not happy. Because here he is being like, I think I need to go to Philippines to go buy a wife. Money is supposed to buy everything for these fuckers. There is money to go around, but people just really don't want to. Even if it means helping someone else from your overflow. For me, I just can't fucking understand that. I can't understand that. I'm happy that I got to see that kind of person. Remember my whole lesson of what money actually is. Money doesn't change people. It already amplifies what that person already is like. If a person's already selfish and they come into money, they're gonna stay selfish with their money. What do you mean? That's all the billionaires, because you don't even have to be a fucking billionaire. What the fuck? Greedy ass motherfuckers. Real quick and fast forward, where I'm staying right now and have been for a year, I haven't been asked rent. I haven't been pressured to give anything because I'm having a whole room. This person that I'm staying with lives paycheck to paycheck. They have to be mindful about everything they're buying. I'm staying here for a year and I don't feel like I have to owe my life to have somewhere to stay while I need help. The difference of people, it has nothing to do with money. So before people are like, I have to be rich to be kind, you just say you're a fucking asshole. And that's that. Say you want to stay that way. Guess what? There's rich assholes too. That doesn't change anything. Having money doesn't make you have a better heart. Having money is amplifying who you fucking already are. Sucks that there's so many selfish fucking people out there with billions. Would they make that equal? No. Can one billionaire literally cure poverty in one country? Yeah. Yeah, they can. By actually implementing systems and then also donating. But would they think of that? No, they need more. They need so much more. It all comes down to the fact that they didn't grow up with love. Boom. All their equilibriums. No billionaire grew up with fucking love. Just saying. Leaving the Go Spa in Markham, Ontario, Toronto, in August 2023. Staying here was an ultimate divine blessing. This was a side quest place I never saw happening for myself for a whole month straight. Bonus on top of it being during my birthday month in July. It was the best relief I've ever gotten since living in my car. Actually, don't remember ever staying in something so luxurious so comfortable, welcoming in a high vibrational way ever. This was truly a divine gift. There were a lot of moments when I was staying at the spa where I knew it wasn't a financially sustainable place to be. I would try to look at Airbnbs that were cheaper hotels, any place that I would think of that would let me stay for $200 a month. Didn't want to keep asking social media for a place to stay. Every time I did open up social media, there was something to see that scared me in Toronto. Harmful, life-ending events that was happening during the summer. Big reaction to a lot of wage gaps. There was a lot of homeless people while I was homeless. I didn't feel safe to be around the other homeless people, considering how much stuff I was carrying and how valuable the stuff I was carrying. In a way, I felt like the divine was protecting me. They were like, no, don't even try to leave. Every time I felt scared of what was out from what I was seeing on social media, I felt instantly relieved knowing that the Go Spa had their own security 24/7. Also, even though people were trolling me during this time, and I know it was trolls, it felt so unsafe. The fact that I went on TikTok live almost every night because I craved communication and connection so bad. I wasn't talking to people in the spa regularly. If I was on TikTok live, it felt like I was FaceTiming people, comforting like that. Then there was this moment where someone made an account, a tag of my name with my profile picture. We know where you are. You're at the Go Spa. There's a plaza beside you. There's this beside you. I'm in the grocery store beside the spa right now. Even if these people thought it was funny, the fact that that was a genuine worry for me, being stalked, being harassed, being scared during my homelessness, that shit's not funny to me. So whoever fucking did that, I hope you really get that karma. Even though you might have been with your friends or by yourself, whatever the fuck, doing that when I was completely alone and I didn't have friends was completely fucked up. Just saying. I just let myself stay at the spa. It was a little bit stressful sometimes. Like, it wasn't that, oh, I had a month paid for. No, it was a decision every day to stay there. You had to pay daily. They let you stay as long as you want, but you had to pay daily. With the way that I got paid from OnlyFans, that was kind of how I paid for the spa. My OnlyFans paid for that spa. I wasn't getting paid a huge lump sum, and I was already fighting the bank. My TD bank is in the process of collections where if I have a balance over $100, they take anything that's above the $100. When I got paid $1,200 once, they took $1,100 out. I understand it's for collections, but that was just so fucked up for me, considering how many things I had to pay for at the time. I had to learn how to get paid just enough at the 100 cap. I would just take that amount of the payout, enough for 100. But OnlyFans' process varies from 2 days to a week. There's a lot of days where I was definitely worried about where to stay, how to stay there. And in between those times, I got so much generous help from people here and there. So I'm really grateful for that. This was the biggest blessing. Eventually, I did leave because of the financial instability. It was stressing me out to the point where I was glad to stay somewhere so luxuriously nice and comforting, but I wasn't able to save, and just the worry of if I could even do this every day, I didn't want to keep feeling that. First, the spa was inspiring so much abundance into me, so much healing in a way that, you know, when your body's genuinely warm, it can really circulate and a lot of things can happen. Being in saunas, I was crying over things that I didn't even know I was holding on to. I was simply so fucking cold all the time. In the beginning, very nice, very healing. So I'm gonna take it for that as well. Like, not only was it a safe space, but oh, it was so good internally. Always being worried about the payment, I felt like at one point it was sparking too much lack. From that, I really wanted somewhere else to go. I just want to give a special shout out to the Go Spa workers that were there when I was there. The ones that made me feel so welcomed through their casual conversations. Even on my birthday, I had a breakdown in front of a lot of people. I have a lot of expectations during my birthday. Physically, it was where I would want to celebrate my birthday. I've been wanting to celebrate my birthday around people for so long, knowing that, I didn't have someone fully there with me throughout the whole day. It just made me sad. I was going into my birthday, I was feeling all of that. And then after my breakdown, and then going to bed and waking up on my birthday, I just felt a refreshed state of, okay, I'm really wanting to count my blessings and see what's in front of me. I'm in the best place I've ever slept in. Some stuff just made me feel so special. By the time it was my birthday's on the 25th of July, I was already staying there for almost 3.5 weeks. It's nice to know that staying at this spa really showed me that I want to be in places like this. Growing up with so much lack, I was someone who was like, what's the point of spas? What's the point of relaxing? You could do that at home. I grew up in lack. I didn't see the value of comfort. I didn't see the value of luxury. The first time I ever went to go spa was when I first moved to Ontario with the people I first moved in with. That's how I viewed the spa. I was like, I'm grateful that I'm here, but I don't see the point of being here. Just lay here, you just sit here, you relax. Like, why don't you just do that at home? Yeah, I had that mindset while I was there. The first time I ever went. To go there again and just have a refreshed, renewed state of what comfort luxury is and how I actually want that in my life now, it was great. Felt like an energetic upgrade because I see the value in absolutely everything that was at the spa when I was there. Oh, I didn't even mention how I ended up at the Go Spa. After coming back from America, landing in the Toronto airport, all I thought about was, okay, I know how to transit here. Let me transit from the airport to downtown to Lakeshore. Let me just go to Lakeshore. That's somewhere I know I'm comforted. From there, I will decide. Thinking, okay, maybe I can go to a lot of evening cafes, pop my way around again. That's what I was originally thinking. Heading to Lakeshore, it was raining, it was gloomy. I just didn't feel like trying to find places to hop around. I have money for a really nice hotel stay. And that's just something I feel like I deserve right now after just being kicked out of New Jersey. First place I thought of as I was training to Lakeshore was the Go Spa. And that was so interesting for me because I never thought of that as a place to stay throughout this whole journey at all. But that was my instant thought and I just went with it. See how far it is to transit there. Oh, it's not that bad. Checked in the evening, had a full day there. I left after the first 2 nights, the first time, because I was adamant on finding somewhere more affordable. As I was looking around and carrying all this heavy bag, I was carrying a backpack that was 50 pounds. I was carrying a bag that was like 30 pounds. I myself is 100 pounds. It was so fucking much for me. I can't keep carrying this shit around and trying to find places to stay. Fuck, I just need somewhere comfortable. Fuck it. And that's when I decided to just try at the Go Spa for a little bit and see how it went. Eventually, after a week there, I let myself be there. Feels so hard to share this part of the story sometimes because of my homeless journey. It doesn't sound practical, reasonable, or anything to be staying in a luxury spa for a month. For anyone who is walking a spiritual path or a faithful one, there will be moments of blessings like that. When I left the spa and went into North Carolina, that was very much opposite of the spa. It was a neglected home in a lot of ways. It was not clean. It was not cared for. It didn't give any type of spa vibe. I went from, just to give a picture, 100 being the spa, like luxury comfort. I went from 100 down to 20 right after that. I didn't stay in a wealthy vibration the whole time. That's why I want to emphasize how much of a blessing it truly was when it happened. That's how I ended up leaving the Go Spa. I made a friend online through OnlyFans work. He gratefully suggested I go to his house not to worry about rent. It was another place I got to gratefully be in and not worry about rent. And that was the preface of just my jump to go there. I didn't think about anything else. My emotional safety, I didn't think about my heart, about my body, my sexual care. I didn't think about anything else except my survival and having a roof over my head. We have reached the end of the recording. To share the last story. Thank you for listening this far. Let's jump right into it. Leaving Oxford, North Carolina in October 2023. I have mentioned this story in my crochet blanket video, but it is part of this story as well. Straight to the point and telling it like it is, I experienced heartbreak and disrespect since my ex. There was a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication between us in terms of what the connection even was, how either of us even wanted to be treated, could handle having someone around. We're both Leos who were very used to their own lone wolf energy. I came at it with a more open mind and open heart to want to really collaborate in a lot of ways. I'm grateful that this connection was my first collaboration in the ex-working space. I'm grateful it helped me be seen in a different way. Why I left was because it became another situation and connection that was overlooking me, that didn't want to get to know me, didn't care how they treated me, yet expected me to stay because they provided something. Granted, and I'm grateful, I didn't pay for rent being here, but the way that I was treated felt like I had no choice to accept whatever he was doing because he was letting me stay there for free. I hated that kind of power people had over me during this homelessness. Not only were they making me feel bad for their choice of bringing me there, now they were rushing me to leave because it was a mistake. I thought it was gonna be an up and up stroll from there, but I needed one last learning lesson about what kind of romantic professional relationship I want close to me. It was another connection that reminded me not to dim my own shine ever, not to dim anything of mine. I know how good of a leader I am. I know how comforting and nurturing I am too. I am very confident of my duality of masculine and feminine energies. Sure, being in North Carolina, I needed to balance it out more. I am still very aware of how strong both of those energies are for me though. Whenever I start feeling very confused about who I am, it's just a big telltale sign for me at this point that my surroundings are not the ones to uplift me. Usually a big learning lesson for me, since all I've ever known is being around people who don't see me and don't value me how I want, don't like me, to be honest. I'm so used to being around people who just deal with me, are obligated to take care of me, who feel responsibility over me, but it's a burden. I'm used to that energy. And every house I've ever been in the homeless journey reflected that. After building so much courage through all the disrespect, where he really was gonna go behind my back on something very important, all I asked was for him not to sleep with someone else while I was there because I didn't want to get checked. I'm Canadian. I don't want to dish out $500 because someone else wants to sleep with more people. Can't wait for 3 months. He did a good job for 2 months, you know. But when he was making a plan to have a hotel and sleep with someone else while I was there on his trip back from an out-of-town work job, that was fucked up to me. I've never actually had the experience or known of it to have someone see me and another person in the same day, much alone expect to have sex with us both in the same day. Like, that's so fucked up. was a big dish to my self-worth because I already knew that we weren't going to have an emotional, mental, spiritual, any kind of healthy connection. All the connection I knew we were going to have was a physical one. I already knew that I fucking dimmed down my self-worth that low to have that kind of standard of connection. Not only have that kind of connection, but be very available. I am very comfortable in my sexuality and sexual energy. I'm horny every day kind of vibe. I felt so available to him, only for him to do that. I feel so much disrespect on myself because of how available I was making myself to someone who could give less of a fuck. I'm so tired of people who take advantage of my heart. I'm really grateful that my anger is a good driver for me, because that's exactly what got me out of that situation. As soon as I saw the text messages of that about to happen, immediately started asking around anywhere that I could go. Just made a friend online freshly like a week. I was so out of options. I didn't feel like I had any more friends or any support other than what I was having in that moment. I felt like I only had a choice but to ask a brand new person. And it felt aligned because we actually started talking. He was really interested in my tarot readings. It felt like I was leaving the superficiality of sex work and exploring more of my spiritual gifts. That was also another big sign. I asked him, hey, do you have extra space? Do you have a couch or anything that I could sleep on for the next couple weeks? Because at that time, I was only anticipating to stay in the US for a couple more weeks before having to go back to Canada because of my expired passport. So I only needed a couple more weeks. Couldn't imagine a couple more weeks with this guy. I couldn't even stand sleeping next to him. I couldn't even stand looking at him after that. It was just so fucked up. I booked the ticket that night. I was leaving 5 days out. Within the 5 days, all of a sudden, he wasn't on his phone. He wanted to spend a lot of quality time with me. He wanted to collaborate as much as we could in the 5 days. Wow, you're pulling all the stops right before I leave, and this is just all I wanted the whole time. Can't have that in my life. It's so manipulative. After being in Reno for a year, I've grown so much. I've learned so much. I'm so grateful to have lived in a city I never even heard of before coming here. To make a routine, be stable in it, find so much balance. Like the way I came to myself was so healing. It felt safe. I'm so grateful that being here, I haven't worried about my survival. There was many moments where I got into my own head thinking my survival was being challenged, and it really wasn't. There was never, ever any point where my roommates, even the girl, and me and her don't get along. Both of them never asked me to leave. They never asked me to pay rent. They never asked me, when are you leaving? Even the moments where I felt like I needed to rush myself, the one roommate kept reassuring over and over, I don't have to rush. You know how long it's been since I felt like I wasn't being rushed out of somewhere? Even when I tried to escape here, like rushing my passport, planning where to go, even though I didn't know. Yes, I wanted to go to Canada, but it was more like, fine, I'll just end up in Canada and see what happens. I needed to get out of that mindset. I needed to get out of running away because I was so used to running away from trauma. I was so used to running away from bullies. It was all I kind of knew. I knew how to run away and start over, but I didn't know how to plan. Usually it felt like I had to do it as fast as I could. When I realized how much I was hurting in the places I was in, it was like my impulsivity took over, and I was like, I need to get out of here right fucking now. Like as soon as the epiphany hit, I wanted to leave. Every time I had an epiphany here, it sparked that. It sparked the escapism. It sparked the fear that I have to start over and burn bridges again. Then I kept getting met with, no, you can't. No, you can't. And most of the time, it was because my finances were literally like, no, you can't go anywhere. Of course, I couldn't always rely on the roommate to take care of my food. So there would be phases I would take care of my food and dip into my savings. Looking back at it now, it's just so funny because I was so upset every single time that I couldn't save and I took from my savings when I realized that I wasn't even meant to go anywhere yet. Money is such a lesson for me. I can explain this in an astrological way because there's a reason there. A way that everyone can understand. Money taught me so much in ways of restriction and access. When I had money, I felt so abundant in the things I wanted to do and all the things I wanted to get, but I was very impatient. Growing up with lack, you become very impatient with money because you don't know when you're gonna get this much money again. It sucks. You know, we can try to berate poor people as much as we can. Oh, it's your fault, you're not saving. It's really not that all the time. Circumstances might not be able to call for it. I don't want to get too much into the money lessons I'm learning because I feel like I'm still processing that and integrating what all of them mean for me. What I can just sum it up to being is that I see how money, or the thought of money, restricts me or makes me feel like I have access. If it's just the thought of it, I can control a feeling. Why not dive into that more? These past few years have really shown me how to invest by completely losing everything that I thought I needed, down to my car. I thought I needed my car. I thought I needed a house. Boom, gone. I thought I needed savings. I thought I needed certain subscriptions and payments and stuff like that, and I don't. I thought I needed to go out a lot to experience fun, certain materials to do certain things, and I don't. Humility I've learned during this home free journey. I'm so grateful. This moving video was with so much pain, and watching it back through editing it, what a story. When I was first recording for this, I knew I wanted to finish the video off by updating where I am now and maybe what my next plan is. In the beginning of recording, I also felt very, oh, I'm ready to fucking leave. More in my escapism. I can't wait to leave this house at any fucking time. I'm just so ready. Then there would be another lesson I was learning through the process of being impatient. So many lessons learned from being impatient. Oh my gosh. Fire signs, y'all understand me. And some air signs too. Like, we have the energy of movement, and what comes with that? Impatience. I don't know a patient fire sign who's naturally patient. It is a learning process. It's due to our ego, you know? Our ego, a lot of us learn instant gratification because of the ego, though I feel like with fire signs, it's just so much impatience from wanting things so much more quicker, especially through the effort. And for me, I felt like my effort was making material fulfillment for myself so I can feel safe. I feel like I've been working for so long. I feel like even though I've been indecisive for so long, it's been something I wanted since starting social media. I wanted to have my social media create my material fulfillment. It was kind of like always a point to prove in a way as well, since everywhere I lived were with people that didn't believe what I was doing on social media, looked down on my social media. To me, maybe they praised it towards other people, but towards me, they overlooked it. They didn't try to recognize anything I was saying or doing on my platforms at all. Okay, if the people around me don't care, then nobody cares, because that's just the way I grew up. I had it instilled so young that, okay, if nobody is caring about what I do, there's no point in doing anything. It took a long time to reframe that, and I'm so grateful that I got to do so much healing here. Like, I actually feel like every month here brought on an opportunity to heal an area of my life. I didn't feel like I had to do everything all at once. I'm probably not gonna stop saying how grateful I have been being here. It's all I've wanted for the past few years. After starting my healing journey, I knew all I wanted was just somewhere safe to heal and create. I knew I was very creative. I know I'm very creative. I really did believe that my creations were gonna make something beautiful and eventually amount to something. But every house I felt like before this one rushed me into that material fulfillment. They're like, well, you're not making any money off of the things you're doing right now. How can you make any money later on doing it? This house was the first house that was like, we don't care what you're doing in the room, just stay somewhere safe. Even though I felt really sad in a lot of moments that my roommates weren't also seeing me how I wanted to be seen, I kept reframing it in a way that I'm somewhere safe where I can build this version of me. Then I finally came into the knowing that, okay, you know what? I don't need anyone to validate my shine to be shiny. It's okay if my roommates don't see it, but I know I'm gonna work towards somewhere where I will be seen for it. If right now my season is to build it up still, then I'll accept that. Have it completely all at the same time, all at once. As long as I know I'm working towards that kind of environment, roommates that match my energy in terms of creativity and excitement for life. I know I'm working towards a loving, bright, upbeat state and community and city. I don't want to disregard everything that I've learned and done here in a more grounding, stable kind of city. Reno is not stimulating, and for a bit and for roller coasters at a time, I would hate that. Like, oh, the city is not exciting. There are cities that are exciting and I've seen myself in them. I got too stimulated. I got too distracted being there. I almost forgot what I wanted to do, envision, because over there in stimulating cities and you don't have the funds for it, oh, you could get really lost in the survival of stimulation. That's what happened with me. I couldn't fully think or feel safe in my creations because I was worried about my survival all the time. This house is the first time in my whole life, actually, where I felt safe to stop working and just create. This is the first house I stopped working and focused on me. And for that, I'm so fucking grateful. I got to find what I was looking for leaving Canada. Excited to go back to Canada with fresh eyes, with a fresh heart. I'm really excited to see a confident version of myself in Canada. I've never seen her yet. There was moments where I had confidence, either playing sports, winning awards. I was at the 7-Eleven by the school during lunch, getting a snack. She literally picked me out of the line and she's like, oh, here, come with me, I'll pay for you. It was so random. And she's like, you're so cute, let me pay for you. She's like, have a good day. I don't know if she went to the high school nearby because I was in junior high at the time. Someone just randomly showed me kindness and complimented me. And she's a woman. Whoa. And in that moment, I felt confident. I felt more confident from compliments when it came from women. The girlfriends I had in my life, no. I don't remember having a girlfriend except for one. I only had one friend ever that I can recall. Jessica, you a real fucking one. My left-handed lover. Oh my god, I think that's what we called each other in junior high. But we were best friends in junior high. And she was the only female friend I've ever had who didn't make me feel bad when I shined. I remember her saying there was a lot of moments where, you know, people compared me to her and she felt insecure in that. And I felt really sad to hear that because she told me that a couple years later. Not knowing that and seeing how she still treated me, she still treated me so great. When I did shine, either in academic, sports, or creativity, she never compared herself to me. Well, she was very academically bright. Like, she was definitely one of the smartest students I knew. And she was very creative too. Great in creativity and smarts. She enjoyed sports as well. Like, she was also an all-around kind of person. And maybe because I felt like she got a lot of compliments for the things she was great at as well. So maybe our shines kind of matched each other. I think that was the first and only friendship I've had where I didn't actually feel any jealousy from a female. Knowing that we were compared and stuff, behind my back, because I never heard of that stuff, like, and I wouldn't have allowed it. She's my best friend. I didn't want anyone to compare us. I guess I'm feeling a little bit inspired to remember the really positive people who were in my life in Calgary. I unfortunately didn't spend the most time with them. I chose other people. Having a lot of Libra in my chart, a lot of lessons are learned through relationships and connections. I'm really excited to go back to Canada, you guys. I'm so excited to reunite with my suitcases, to see my journals again, my grandpa's shirt, my old clothes. It's gonna be like opening a time capsule. I'm more excited about that. It's gonna feel like a nostalgic thing, opening those suitcases. Going back to my hometown in general. I've never seen Calgary without being sad. First time I visited after moving away, it was so sad because I realized all my friends weren't my friends anymore. All the people I thought would be excited to see me weren't. I did see people who were excited to see me. The people I spent years with were not excited to see me, but the people I spent my last summer in Calgary with were more excited to see me. Back then, it really hurt. Now I can see why that happened. The second time I visited and the last time I was in Calgary was for my grandpa's funeral. My motivation of why I even left Calgary, what city to start at. And it wasn't Hamilton. Hamilton wasn't the place I felt inspired to move to. I don't want to just point out the city just yet because I prefer saying it when I'm there. If y'all have been keeping up with the story, you know where I'm talking about though. I have been there before. I've stayed there before, but I didn't truly feel like I was part of the city and lived there. I got to experience the city, transit, walked around it, became regulars at places, for sure. But I didn't feel safe there in terms of safely expressing myself, being in my shine, that kind of way. Now that I feel I match the confidence that stimulating cities need, oh, I'm fucking ready. I for sure know I needed to build the confidence to be back in those kind of cities. I want to walk the streets of Toronto and New York and be like, yeah, you guys don't know who I am, so I know who I am. I'm really excited. Canada, Canada, Canada.